Joining us now from Tehran is Saeed Mohammad Marandi. He is an Iranian academic and political analyst. He is Dean of the Faculty of World Studies at the University of Tehran. Dr. Marandi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
As you would understand, it's very difficult to get clear, precise information from the battlefield in this fight against ISIL. But as far as Iran is concerned, we're hearing all kinds of reports from Iran just has a few dozen military advisors in this battle to, as we just heard from our previous guest, there are Iranian regular military being involved in this fight. What exactly is Iran's involvement?
I don't think there are any regular troops. I think probably the number of advisors is higher than being in the tens. I think it's probably in the hundreds, but I'm just guessing. But I doubt severely that there are regular troops. Just like in Syria, despite the fact that there were claims for years that there were Iranian regulars fighting in Syria, there were, I don't think, ever more than 100 Iranians in the country at one time.
Now we have a very unique situation where we have Iran and the United States essentially on the same side fighting ISIL here. I want you to take a listen to a recent exchange at the US Congress at a Senate hearing. Secretary of State John Kerry was being questioned at that hearing. He's being questioned in this exchange by the Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Let's watch.
If the U.S. sent more military personnel into Iraq as trainers, advisors, logistical support, they would support that? Iran would support that?
Well, they're not going to come out and openly support it, and they obviously would be nervous about it, but they're not going to object if that's what it is.
What do you make of that?
Well, I don't think the Iranians would welcome U.S. troops in Iraq because the Americans have never played a positive role in Iraq, and it doesn't play a positive role even now. The airstrikes that the so-called coalition, the numbers that they've been carrying out over the past few months, ever since ISIL came into Iraq, has been insignificant, a few a day, whereas the Syrian Air Force alone at times carries out over 100 airstrikes. So either the American Air Force is a lot smaller than that of Syria, or the Americans really aren't being all that serious. And on the other hand, the Americans are allowing, or they're closing their eyes to Turkish support for ISIL, for the Nusra Front, which is Al-Qaeda, as well as Jordanian support, and the Saudis and the Qataris through Jordan, and the Israelis along their border, their support for Nusra, which is, again, as I said, Al-Qaeda. So the Americans are playing a very strange game in a way. They want to contain ISIL, it seems, but at the same time, they're not really doing anything to stop other countries from supporting it. But Iran would not block any agreement between the Iraqi government and the United States,